Welcome friends for Management Code 17 subject of UGC NET. Today we'll do the detailed solution of latest paper. So अभी जो पेपर हुआ है which was for June 2022 attempt was conducted on 30th of September. So this was a merge cycle of two exams. कौन कौन से? जो दिसंबर 21 का पेपर था और जो जून 2022 का पेपर था. So this was merged into a single exam and it was conducted on 30th of September 2022 for code 17 and for code 17 management. So आज हम लोग क्या करेंगे? We'll go through the entire paper 2. जितने भी 100 क्वेश्चन होते हैं वन बाय वन विल गो थ्रू ऑल ऑफ देम टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कैसे आपको इसको अटेम्प्ट करना चाहिए था एंड व्हाट इज द सॉल्यूशन ऑफ ईच क्वेश्चन. Then before I start, I want to share with you 2-3 things. Number one, see guys, as we have been seeing it for last 3-4 attempts now, that paper is becoming more and more conceptual. Conceptual का मतलब क्या है कि पहले जब तक पेपर यूजीसी या सीबीएसई कराता था, द पेपर वाज मोर कीवर्ड बेस्ड. सो इवन इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल कीवर्ड्स ऑफ सिलेबस, मोटा मोटा आप कर लो, उससे आपका पेपर निकल जाता था. डिफिकल्टी लेवल वाज नॉट वेरी हाई. कट ऑफ भी 65-70 के आसपास था फॉर जेआरएफ. लेकिन अब गाइस, सिंस लास्ट 2-3 years द पेपर इज बिकमिंग बेटर, द पेपर इज बिकमिंग मोर कॉन्सेप्चुअल. अब ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप कुछ इंपोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन करके चले गए या कुछ शॉर्टकट तरीके से आप कुछ पढ़ाई करके चले गए या फिर आपने मोटा मोटा कीवर्ड देख लिए, उससे पेपर पास नहीं होगा. पेपर इज बिकमिंग मोर कॉन्सेप्चुअल. जब तक आप चीजों को समझोगे नहीं, तब तक आप अपने क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट नहीं कर पाओगे. एंड दिस इज द रीजन, अगर आपने देखा होगा पिछले 2-3 अटेम्प्ट से द कट ऑफ इज गोइंग डाउन. अभी जो कट ऑफ 65-70 के बीच में होता था, अब वो कट ऑफ 55 के आसपास अब जाने लगा है फॉर जेआरएफ, फॉर कोड 17 मैनेजमेंट. सो इसके ना 2 इम्पैक्ट हैं. पहला इम्पैक्ट तो क्या है कि अभी अच्छे से ही पढ़ाई करना होगा और कोई इसका ऑप्शन नहीं है. सेकेंड इम्पैक्ट ये है कि आपको अब पूरा सिलेबस ही कवर करना होगा. अब पूरा सिलेबस ही, ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं आप सवाल कर लो. जैसे कि यू कैन टेक एनी एग्जांपल, फॉर एग्जांपल ईओक्यू. अब ईओक्यू इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक ऑफ ऑपरेशंस मैनेजमेंट. एफएम में भी होता है, उससे एक भी सवाल नहीं आया है. सो अब वो दिन चले गए हैं कि जस्ट बिकॉज समथिंग लुक्स इंपॉर्टेंट तो उससे पक्का सवाल आएगा. और इवन जो सवाल आता भी है उससे भी तुम आपको काफी यू हैव टू थिंक अ लॉट, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड थिंग्स. बट माइंड इट, वी आर नॉट सेइंग कि सवाल कहीं से भी उठ के आ जा रहा है. द सवाल इज विद इन बाउंड्री ऑफ सिलेबस. ठीक है, एग्जाम में 5-6 सवाल तो ऐसे होंगे आउट ऑफ 100 जो थोड़े आउट ऑफ सिलेबस टाइप्स होते हैं, बट वो हमेशा ही होगा. बट मोर देन 95% पेपर इज विद इन बाउंड्री ऑफ सिलेबस. कहीं उठपटांग सवाल नहीं आ रहे. ओनली डिफरेंस इज विद इन दैट बाउंड्री इट्स मोर कॉन्सेप्चुअल. आपको समझना होगा, ऊपर ऊपर से करके आप नहीं जा सकते. Second thing guys, if you want to understand how you guys can prepare with Human Peritus, तो उसके लिए आप क्या कर सकते हो? You can go to website of Human Peritus. So once you will go on the website, click on this page, Management Code 17 UGC NET. And once you are on this page of Management Code 17, so on this page we have discussed everything, how you guys can prepare with us. आप एक ट्रायल क्लास भी लेके देख सकते हो. You can also set up a call with faculty. हमारा जो प्रिपरेशन का अप्रोच है 4 स्टेप, आप वो एक बार समझ सकते हो. Then go through some of the classes कि हम लोग पढ़ाते कैसे हैं क्लास में. You can also look at sample booklets to understand कि कैसा कंटेंट आपको मिलेगा, how everything has been put together. कुछ इंटरव्यूज भी देख सकते हो जो लोग पिछले सालों में जो निकाला, to understand how those guys have done it. So everything on the single page on the website, and which you will find on the link you will find on the home page of Human Peritus. So guys, let's come back. वापिस आते हैं और एक एक करके अपने सवाल करने शुरू करते हैं. So this is the first question. It is on break even analysis. तो पूछा क्या है कि हमें कुछ सेलिंग प्राइस दिया हुआ है, वेरिएबल कॉस्ट दिया हुआ है और फिक्स कॉस्ट दिया हुआ है. ठीक है, फिर क्या हुआ कि सेलिंग प्राइस 5 रुपया कम कर दिया और हमें निकालना व्हाट इज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ दिस ऑन द ब्रेक इवन सेल्स. सो गाइज, हम लोग ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट कैसे निकालते हैं कि वी फाइंड द कंट्रीब्यूशन. सो फर्स्ट केस में So before this decrease, contribution कितना होगा? So contribution is nothing but selling price minus variable cost, which is rupees 30. ठीक है, ये अपना contribution आ गया. So our fixed cost divide by contribution will give us, fixed cost divided by contribution will give us break even points but in units. और हमें सेल वॉल्यूम निकालना था, इसको सेलिंग प्राइस से मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे. सो 25,000 विल बिकम माई ब्रेक इवन पॉइंट बिफोर द डिक्रीज इन प्राइस. उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि प्राइस 5 रुपए कम हो गया. इसका मतलब जो अब 50 की जगह 45 हो गया. सो 45 माइनस 20, अब हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन बचा 25. और again I'll calculate my break even point which comes out to be 600 units. Again 600 को मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे किससे? सेलिंग प्राइस से, which is 45, and this amount comes out to be 27,000 rupees. So guys, पहले break even sales was 25,000 rupees, and now this break even sale has increased to 27,000 rupees. Therefore there is an increase of 2,000 rupees, and correct answer is C. Next one. There are two statements. There are two statements. Median is the middle most point in a set of numbers. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Mode is not unduly affected by the extreme value. Of course, yes. This is also true. So both statements are true. But is R explaining A? No. So they are independent facts. They have got no relation. So therefore, both A and R are true, but R is not correct explanation of A. Next one. Again guys, this question is on Gordon formula, and we have given EPS दिया है, rate of return required by shareholder दिया हुआ है, market price दिया हुआ है, dividend payout भी हम लोगों को दिया हुआ है. So guys, what is the Gordon formula? It says our market price is given by EPS into 1 minus B. What is B? B is my retention ratio, KE minus BR. So we have to just put down these values, and this value is given to be rupees 50. Okay, and this 1 minus B is nothing but your dividend payout, because B is retention ratio, so payout will be 0.40. EPS हम लोगों को दिया है rupees 5, and then we have been given BR. BR is how much? 16%. So 0.16. निकालना क्या है? KE निकालना है. So guys, values have been put up, and now you can calculate this KE will come out to be 20%, and therefore correct answer is 1. Customers arrive at reception counter at an average arrival rate of 10 minutes. Receptionists take average 6 minutes. Average queue length is. So first we'll calculate the arrival rate, ठीक है, which is given by lambda. फिर हम service rate, which is given by mu. So arrival rate कितना है? So let us take a window of 1 hour. So the interval is 10 minutes. So 60 by 10, 6 becomes my. I have taken interval of 1 hour, 60 minutes. So my arrival rate lambda becomes 6. My service rate will become 60 by 6, which is 10. So I'll calculate my lambda and mu. What I have to calculate? I have to calculate average queue length. So length of queue is given by this formula, mu minus lambda into lambda by mu. So just put up these values. Lambda आपके सामने है, mu आपके सामने है. Put up these values, and answer will come out to be 9 by 10, which is option B. Okay, next one. Again, we have been asked operating leverage, financial leverage, combined leverage, or contribution margin. So guys, your operating leverage is nothing but contribution divided by EBIT. Therefore, your C goes with 1. Then your financial leverage is given by what? Financial leverage is given by EBIT over EBT. So financial leverage is given by EBIT over EBT. और EBT क्या होता है guys? EBT is nothing but EBIT minus interest. Therefore, financial leverage will become A will go with this financial leverage will go with 2. Okay, then let us look at oh, I think I marked it. So guys, give me a second. This is operating leverage. Yeah. Okay. So C goes with 1 and A goes with 2. Let us look at combined leverage now. So combined leverage क्या होता है guys? Combined leverage is contribution divided by EBT. Again, EBT can be written as EBIT minus interest. Therefore, the D will go with 3. और बाकी जो बचा contribution margin, which is nothing but your sale minus variable cost. Done. Correct answer is fourth one. Okay. Next one. Arrange the following bonds in increasing order of underlying risk. So guys, इसमें सबसे पहले अपना कौन सा होगा? The lowest risk will be mortgage bond. उसके बाद आएगा callable bond, फिर आएगा convertible bond, and then unsecured bond, and finally junk bonds. And therefore, correct answer is 1. Okay. Then these are the various modes of entry into foreign market. We have to arrange them in the increasing order of risk. So guys, the lowest risk option is B, then B ke baad D, and then A, and then E, and then C. So again guys, this is a typical कि पहले हम export करते हैं, उसके बाद हम license करते हैं, then contract manufacturing करते हैं, then we set up a joint venture and so on. So the order of involvement and the order of risk will become more and more, and therefore correct answer is third one. Okay. Which of the following is not advantage of implementing a ISO? बिल्कुल common sense का सवाल है. ISO होगा तो एम्प्लॉय एनरोलमेंट होगा, हाउसकीपिंग बेटर होगा, कस्टमर सेटिस्फेक्शन होगा, इनएफिशिएंट डिसीजन मेकिंग. इनएफिशिएंट तो वैसे ही नहीं होना चाहिए. ये सवाल है जो बिल्कुल कॉमन सेंस का है, किसी का गलत नहीं होना चाहिए था. ओके. Which of the following are underlying assumptions of cost volume analysis? So guys, in this case, your B and D are not correct. B and D are not correct. A, C, E are the correct assumptions. Yes. Okay. Next one. So according to Robert Schiller, the price, the PE ratio is dependent upon what? It is cyclically adjusted for 10-year earnings. Percentage of output lost for each point reduction in inflation is known as sacrifice ratio. So 1% inflation के कम या ज्यादा होने से what will be the impact on the GDP or output of a country? This is given by sacrifice ratio. Which of the following a competitive firm is advised to shut down operations when P is less than average variable cost? In the absence of transaction cost, if a stock price is above SML, then what will happen? So guys, what is SML? So security market line. So on the x-axis, we plot the systematic risk. On the y-axis, we plot expected return. Okay, and the line looks something like this. और इस लाइन के जितना ऊपर का जो एरिया है, अगर उसमें अगर कुछ भी है, सो दैट इज अंडर वैल्यूड. अगर इसके नीचे है तो ओवर वैल्यूड. पूछा क्या है? इट इज अबोव द एसएमएल, देयरफॉर इट इज अंडर प्राइस्ड. A technique of building up a list or sample of special population by using an initial set of member of information is known as snowball sampling. Snowball sampling में क्या होता है guys? So you choose somebody or for the survey, then you ask that person to get more people, then those guys to get more people. This is how you keep creating your sample, and this is known as snowball sampling. Okay, which of the following studies are related to testing of weak form of stock market efficiency? So guys, weak form of stock market efficiency, this is done with the help of runs test and autocorrelation test. Therefore, C and E are correct. Correct answer is fourth one. Slightly tougher question. I mean, hardly anybody would have done it. not part of syllabus usually. Again, this also very few guys will part in your regular books. And 270, this is on this is from the this is again from the topic of risk and return, and the correct answer is 2. Okay. In regression model, the assumptions of error terms are that, so all assumptions are correct except C, that there is dependence, because the assumption says that the observation of error term, which is given by epsilon, the observations of error term are independent of each other. Therefore, D is correct and C is incorrect. So D is the only option which is incorrect, and therefore correct answer is C is the only option which is incorrect. Therefore, the answer is A, B, D, and E. जो द फॉलोइंग आर ट्रू. ओके गाइस, काफी इंटरेस्टिंग सवाल है, इसको ध्यान से समझना. अ गुड मेजर ऑफ डिस्पर्शन is not duly affected by extreme observations. Yes, of course, it should be there. Second one, standard deviation incorporates effect of extreme value. बिल्कुल ठीक है. Thus making it most reliable. अब गाइस यहां गड़बड़ हो गया. प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, यहां तक इस लाइन में कोई गड़बड़ नहीं है, ठीक है. लेकिन 10 मेकिंग इट मोस्ट रिलायबल, ये गलत हो गया, क्योंकि हमने तो पहली लाइन में ये हमने बोला है कि अच्छा मेजर वो है विच इज नॉट अफेक्टेड. देयरफॉर स्टेटमेंट बी इज incorrect. Statement C, coefficient of determination is always positive bit and less than 1. Yes, this is always between 0 to 1, and therefore this is correct. D, non-parametric tests don't require to make a restrictive assumption about shape. Yes, अगर हमें shape, if we do not know कि normal distributed है या नहीं है, we can switch to non-parametric test. Jet test can be applied to when population jet test cannot be applied when population normal. Of course, गलत. Jet test का तो significance ही तब आता है जब population normal होता है. Therefore, correct answer is A, C, and D, and therefore 1 is correct. In which of the following method of capital budgeting, cash flows are reinvested at cost of capital? So guys, in case of NPV, cash flows are reinvested cost of capital. IRR में क्या होता है? In case of IRR, they are reinvested at the rate of IRR only. The intermediate cash flows which you are talking about, they are reinvested at the rate of IRR only in case of IRR, but in case of NPV, they are reinvested at the rate of cost of capital. Therefore, correct answer is a net present value, which is option 2.
Okay, so the question is, huge stores that combine the supermarket, discount, and warehouse retailing are called. I would say it's a very easy question. All right, let us see the options one by one. Discount store, category killer, hypermarket, off-price retailer. See, when you see they are combining the supermarket, the discount, and warehouse retailing, and if you know about the definition, the basic definition of hypermarket, you would directly be able to mark the correct option, which is hypermarket. So basically, what is a hypermarket? Hypermarket actually is a very large retail store. All right, a large retail store that actually offers very low prices, and it basically combines a superstore, which is a super retail store. All right, the discount stores as well. Plus, they operate in a warehouse kind of building. All right, so this actually, the hypermarket actually combines all the three kind of markets characteristics. All right, so the correct option is hypermarket. Discount store is obviously a sub part of hypermarket, so it cannot be a correct option. All right, so अगर directly भी if you see ना कि supermarket को combine करा with discount and retail warehousing retail, तो उससे से clearly you can mark discount store as incorrect. Category killer are specialized store basically which specializes in specific line of products. And why do we call them killer? Because they kind of operate at such a level and with such efficiency, they kind of kill the other stores which are operating in those kind of product lines. All right, now, last one is the off-price retail stores. Obviously these are off-price retailers, even these are small size retailers. So basically hypermarket is the correct answer. All right, so next up, Which of the following are essential characteristics of financial markets? All right. So let us see the options one by one. Price, continuity, and depth. Yes, it is an essential. See, what I want you to do while answering such questions is concentrate on the keywords. All right. For example, here it is asking about the essential characteristics and not about the basic characteristics. All right. So price, continuity, and depth. Yes, it is a characteristic. What is price continuity? Price continuity is basically when the difference between the offer price which is being given by the buyers and the requested price which is being requested by the sellers, when the difference of these two prices from the buyers and the sellers, it is a small, the difference is small, then it is price continuity. And what is the depth? When there are different levels of prices for example, say various securities in the financial market. All right. So this is depth. So yes, it is correct. Next is liquidity and marketability. Obviously, when you can liquidate your financial assets, or you can, what we say, you can actually sell the financial assets, that means liquidity and marketability. So this is also correct. Next is normative governance and regulation. See, this thing, normative governance and regulation, this is important, but for a financial market to operate, it is not essential. All right. So we cannot abhi for now consider it as essential. Or all right. Next is timely and accurate information flow. Obviously, it is much needed जब भी आपको पता होगा कि what are the prices और मतलब कि market में what is the price of a particular security या share price क्या चल रहा है, और बहुत सारी other things such as क्या गवर्नमेंट के नए रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस आ रहे हैं. So this is very important. Last is minimum transaction cost and informational efficiency. All obviously efficiency is important. Then is the minimum transaction cost. Minimum transaction cost, there must be a kind of minimum transaction cost, because otherwise there would not be possible of the sale of securities, of setting a proper price of the security. So there must be a minimum transaction cost that should be there. So A, B, D, and E. So do we see an option like this here? A, B, D, and E. Yes. So this one is correct. 1008. Okay. Next one. How often and how easily customers think of the brand under various purchase or consumption situations is known as. ठीक है. तो ऑप्शंस हैं ब्रांड सेलियंस, ब्रांड रेजोनेंस, ब्रांड फीलिंग्स, ब्रांड इमेजनरी. ब्रांड इमेजनरी इज ब्रांड की इमेज क्या है इन द माइंड्स ऑफ द पीपल. ब्रांड फीलिंग्स, हाउ देयर इमोशंस एंड फीलिंग्स आर अटैच्ड टू अ पर्टिकुलर ब्रांड. ब्रांड रेजोनेंस, it is basically how well a customer relates himself or herself to a particular brand. And then comes the brand salience. So this is the correct option, because brand salience is what, like how often the brand is thought of or the brand is noticed by the customers. So what is the question is the question asking? The brand which is the customers can think easily of, all right, under various purchase or consumption situations. So brand salience is actually how often the brand is thought of. The basic definition is this only of this term brand salience, thought of, or we can say noticed. All right. So अगर ये definition आपको पता है तो within a jiffy I would say कि you can and you'll be easily able to mark the correct option here. All right, next one. Which of the following are the myths of brand communities? All right. So what is a myth? Myth is basically the statements which are not true in nature. All right. So उस हिसाब से we will evaluate one by one statement, and then we'll finally get down to the conclusion कि इसमें से कौन सा myth है और कौन सा नहीं है. ठीक है. So number one is build the brand and the community will follow. All right, this is a myth actually about the brand community. ठीक है. So brand community basically there are various kind of myths regarding the brand communities, regarding the community which follows a particular brand. All right. So number one, it is build the brand and community will follow. This is not true. All right. Next is focus on opinion leaders to build a strong community. So there should be focus on opinion leaders to build a strong community. Even this is a myth. All right. Next is brand communities exist to serve the business. This actually is not true. So it is also a myth. Acha, next is online social networks are the best way to build a community. इवन दिस इज अ मिथ क्योंकि सिर्फ ऑनलाइन नहीं इवन ऑफलाइन मोड्स में भी वी कैन इजीली build the brand communities. Last one is social networks are one community tool, one, not the only. All right, one community tool, but the tool is not the strategy. This is actually a correct statement. Acha, paper mein this is given wrong. There should be E instead of D. All right. So social networks are one community tool, but the tool is not the strategy. This statement is actually true in the sense, all right. So basically this would not be a myth. So what we are left with is A, B, C and D. Do we see an option here like that? A, B, C and D. Yes, it is option number 1028. All right. So this is the correct option here. Next one, arrange the following goods in the ascending order of the underlying income elasticity of demand. All right. Okay, so this is not talking about the price elasticity. Remember, I was telling you about picking up the keywords first and then start analyzing the options. So income elasticity, it is asking here, not the price elasticity. All right. So here, Acha, necessities, inferior goods, novel goods, luxury goods, and giffen goods. So if you are, basic of your economics, the basic fundamental should be clear in answering this question. So giffen goods, these have the least elasticity here, although they have this positive, what we say, positive kind of income effect. That is, if the income increases, the demand for such products will increase. All right. So this has the least elasticity. And this is basically, if it is least, it is less than 0 here. Acha, inferior goods also have less than 0 elasticity, but if we compare inferior and giffen goods, these are more, we can say, inelastic than the other ones. All right. Oh, elastic. All right. Inferior goods. So if we have to rank them in the ascending order, तो सबसे पहले we will say giffen goods, then we will mark inferior goods, then comes the necessities. क्यों? क्योंकि necessities have the, what we say, necessities are also such that income increase or decrease or nothing much would be affecting them. So in that case, necessities jo hai, these are we call them number 3, and these are basically less than we can say 1. The elasticity is less than 1 in case of necessities. All right. Then comes the normal goods. In normal goods, basically, it is also less than 1, but it lies specifically between 0 and 1. And now if we compare necessities and normal goods, so normal goods still have a higher level of elasticity than of the necessities. All right. Then comes the luxury goods. So luxury goods also have the highest level of, we can say, elasticity. Their elasticity, income elasticity is greater than 1. All right. So rank जिस हिसाब से दिया है, do we see an option here like this? Giffen goods number 1, which is EBA. इतना ही देख लो. EBA, C and D. This is option number पहला ही. 1101 is the correct option here. Okay. Next up. Which one of the following is not the assumption of theory of absolute and comparative advantage? All right. So what is this theory of absolute and comparative advantage? First of all, while giving an answer to this question, you must be very well aware about the theory. ठीक है? तभी तो you can, talk about the assumptions here. So the theory is basically based on the principle. It actually is in the international business strategies, basically. All right. The theory is related to that subject. So what is this? It is basically the principle theory talks about that there is a principle that there are differences in the production costs of similar products in two different countries. Okay, so this is the basic theme of the theory. Now there are various kind of assumptions that the theory has. All right, now what kind of assumptions are there? It talks about only two countries. So pehla assumption is this, that only two countries are there. All right, next, these countries produce same commodities. All right, next, tastes are also similar in both the countries. Next is labor is the only factor of production. Only factor. All right, trade is on the basis of barter system. No transportation costs are involved. There are no trade barriers. So there are these kind of various assumptions here. Okay, so let us see the options. Countries are driven only by maximization of production and consumption. Yes, I forgot to write it here, but this is also an assumption. So this is a correct assumption. Achha, the question is asking not the assumption. Okay, only two countries are engaged. Yes, just for two goods. Yes. Acha, there are transportation cost for shipping goods from one country. See, abhi we have seen that no transportation cost. ठीक है? So this is not the assumption. आगे पढ़ने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. We can easily mark this option as correct. No transportation cost. अच्छा, अगला भी देख लेते हैं. Labor is the only factor of production. Yes, labor is the only factor. So this is also correct. ठीक है? अच्छा, चलो next question. Diffusion of innovation theory is associated with Hume. Now, what is this diffusion of innovation theory? Diffusion of innovation theory is basically related to how a product or the idea behind that product is basically how does it gain the momentum or how does it spreads among the consumers or the people in the society. So this theory actually was given by Everett Rogers. Okay, so this is the correct option. Now Everett Rogers, actually this theory was given by him in around 1960 to early 1960s. Basically, he was one of the oldest social science theorists. This was actually one of the oldest social science theories which have talked about this only कि नया idea या नया product को कैसे, how it spreads or how it diffuses among the people or in the society. All right, and this diffusion of innovation theory, how does it spreads ka the person Everett Rogers, he has given 5 stages. Okay, he has given 5 stages also for that. Let me tell you in very short here. Pehla tha awareness. Even this can, can be asked as a question and have been asked before also. Okay, persuasion, then decision, then the people take decision, then implementation of continuation. And finally, they will continue with having the product here. All right. So this one is the correct option. Next is, which of the following constitutes FDI? Now, FDI and various kind of example statements are given here. So अगर FDI का meaning ही पता है, so you will easily be able to mark the correct option. I would rate it as a very among very easy category of questions. Okay. So what is this? FDI? FDI is basically related to the ownership stake. Whenever you have ownership in a foreign country of a company or of a project, that is FDI. And this can be made by a government, by a single investor or a group of investors, that is by a company, okay, from another country. So chalo, let us just read the options here. A speculator trying to make a profit by buying a company share. Nahin, profit is the motive, not true. Next is an Indian energy company buying territory abroad where it expects to find oil reserves. Yes, see, buying the territory here, so a ownership stake is involved here. ठीक है, so this is the correct option. Next भी पढ़ लेते हैं. A tourist purchasing foreign currency, no. A company signing an agreement with the wholesaler to distribute its product, no. So basically option number what we say, ID number 942 is the correct answer, which is Indian Energy Company wala. Okay. Next one. Which of the following is the correct explanation of the resource-based approach? Now, what is this resource-based approach? Resource-based approach talks about that it considers that a firm's competitive advantage. Okay? It talks about the firm's competitive advantage can come from such values of the organization, such internal values of the organization which are valuable. Okay? The resources of the company should be valuable, rare, which is not easily available to other people in the market, inimitable, which cannot be imitated easily, and non-substitutable. All right. So this resource-based approach basically sees the firms as the key to superior firm performance. If we are following this resource-based approach, so we consider this as we can have that competitive advantage and the firm can actually perform at a higher, very superior level like this. All right. So chalo, let us see the options here. Number one is the internal resources are more important for a firm than the internal forces for कंपनीज एडवांटेज. यस, फोर्सेस से ज्यादा सोर्सेज इंपॉर्टेंट है. आगे जाओ ही मत. दिस इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. यू डू नॉट हैव टू इवन रीड द अनदर वन. स्टिल इफ यू वांट टू बी डबली श्योर यू कैन गो अहेड विद रीडिंग अदर ऑप्शंस आल्सो. ठीक है, जैसे देख लो लास्ट ऑप्शन क्या कह रहा है, इफेक्टिव इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ बोथ द फैक्टर्स. नहीं, only internal factors it is talking about. External factors are more important than the internal factors. Nothing like that is being said. ठीक है, process whereby a firm determines the cost associated with organizational activities. Even this is very unrelated statement. ठीक है, so the correct option is number 1, which is 885, option ID number. All right, next one. Concept of fit is central to which of the following schools of thoughts on strategy formulation? ठीक है, what is this concept of fit actually? Concept of fit talks about basically the strategy where the company tries to seek a coherence between its environment, the external environment, and the organizational skills there. ठीक है, so Michael Porter actually said that this concept of fit is basically a characteristic of the positioning school. Why the positioning school? See, because positioning school requires analysis. Analysis is the major aspect of the positioning school. Okay, so when analysis is made to get a proper fix of the external environment and the internal ones, the skills which are there, so there is also an analysis. So positioning school is actually the school which has this thought of concept of fit as compared to the other. Isme it is there. Okay, so option number the option ID number 893 is the correct option. Next one, it is match the following. Okay, at one side possible level of customer expectations are given, other side there are examples given. Okay, so what are the normative expectations? So here if we talk, let us just see the first all the statements, uske baad we can see ki kaun sa kiske sath related hai. Normative expectations are basically ki ek norm set ho gaya hai, there is certain kind of a proper thought which have been fixed for a particular thing. So normative experience, it is let me directly tell you the answers. It is related with this. It is as expensive as the restaurant is, it ought to have excellent food and service. ठीक है, एक particular norm उसके साथ add कर दिया कि ये expensive है तो ये ऐसा होगा. ठीक है, so this is one thing. नेक्स्ट इज एक्सेप्टेबल एक्सपेक्टेशन. एक्सेप्टेबल एक्सपेक्टेशन मतलब कि थोड़ा नॉर्मल एक्सपेक्टेशंस रखना, बहुत हाई लेवल पे नहीं रखना. सो आई एक्सपेक्ट दिस रेस्टोरेंट टू सर्व मी इन एन एडिक्वेट मैनर. तो ये मेरी एडिक्वेट एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि भाई एज अ कस्टमर व्हाट एम आई एक्सपेक्टिंग इज नॉट वेरी आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स, मैं नॉर्मली कुछ एक्सपेक्ट कर रही हूँ. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट इज मिनिमम ट्रबल एक्सपेक्टेशंस, कि जिससे आपको या फिर आप जिससे एक्सपेक्टेशन रख रहे हो उसको भी मिनिमम ट्रबल हो. सो आई एक्सपेक्ट terrible service from this restaurant, but came because price is low. ठीक है, I know that this restaurant is providing a terrible service, but why am I here? Because I cannot afford this restaurant. तो क्योंकि prices low है, so I am here. ठीक है, so here it is the second one. Acha, the last one, which it is talking about the experience based expectation. So most of the times this restaurant is very good, but when it gets busy, the service is slow. ठीक है, तो because you had a certain kind of experience before, so you can make a judgment about that. So this is experience based, what we say, expectation here. So the option number 1087, A ka 4, B 1, C 2, D 3 is the correct option here. All right. Chalo, next one. One side life cycle of an MNC is given, and the another side the staffing approaches are given. Okay. So what should be the staffing approaches? First of all, in setting up the host unit. So whenever you are setting up a host unit, आप दो चीजें कर सकते हो. Either you can carry the staff from your own country, and you can take the best suited staff throughout the globe. ठीक है? So here ethnocentric, which is your own country, geocentric throughout the globe. ठीक है? So here A goes with 4. All right. So next is establishing the technology team to begin core operational activities. So here B is related with what? आपको जो है technological team की बात है. So we will talk about the polycentric approach. That is the host country where we are operating. All right. Achha, next is full-blown operations of the host unit with significant role in establishing global objectives and the targets. So here option number C is it goes with, यहाँ पे भी polycentric चाहिए, but distinctly polycentric approach can be followed here. All right. If not the proper one, it should be distinctly, we say, polycentric approach. The last one, obviously the left option, which is 3. All right. So here the correct option comes as A is 4, B is 1. So option number, ID number 1070 is the correct option here. All right. Next question. Which of the following statements are true in the context of customer value and satisfaction concept? ठीक है. So we have to mark the true statement here. ठीक है. Number 1 is value perceptions increase with quality, service and price. अच्छा. Customer value triad is primarily a combination of quality, service and price. This is true. ठीक है. First one is incorrect. Why? Because it is actually the value perception actually increases with the quality and service, but not with the price. So it is incorrect. All right. Next is C. Marketing is the identification, creation, communication, delivery, and monitoring of customer value. It is correct. Okay. Next is if the perceived performance of the product matches with the perceived expectations, the customer is delighted. देखो, first of all, तो ये value और satisfaction की बात कर रहा है. So here the customer is delighted, not talking about satisfaction या value, मतलब ऐसे specifically. And so अभी we cannot take it as a correct option. Next is satisfaction reflects a person's judgment of a product's perceived performance in relation to expectations. This is also true. All right. So which one are incorrect? Number A and D. So B, C, E is the correct option, which is this one, 1011. Okay, next one. A salesperson who relies on creative method for selling products and services is called, it is very easy. ठीक है, तो इसमें सीधा सीधा you can mark missionary because he actually involves in his style various creative methods for selling the products. What he does actually is a missionary. He makes relationship with the person who is known to the target customer. ठीक है, वो first he will influence the person who is related to the target customer so that that person will again in turn influence the customer himself. So missionary is the correct option here. Next is which one of the following is not the disadvantage of international licensing? अच्छा, तो पहला is inviting a potential competitor in third countries market, high agency cost. हाँ, देखो high agency cost, it is true. ठीक है. इनवाइटिंग अ पोटेंशियल कॉम्पिटिटर इन थर्ड, ये भी ट्रू है, डिसएडवांटेज है. पॉसिबल लॉस ऑफ क्वालिटी कंट्रोल, यस इट कैन हैपन क्योंकि आप होम कंट्री में काम नहीं कर रहे हो. Last is no detailed involvement with the foreign customers. See, the statement itself is incorrect because no detailed involvement to hai hi nahi. It happens actually. The involvement happens with the foreign customers. So this is not a disadvantage here. So the last option is correct here. Next one. अच्छा, एक एग्जाम्पल है, उसके हिसाब से हमें बताना है कौन सी स्ट्रैटेजी है. ठीक है. अ कॉपियर मशीन कंपनी प्रोवाइड्स बेटर आफ्टर सेल सर्विस टू इट्स एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर टू इम्प्रूव इट्स कंपनी या फिर प्रोडक्ट इमेज एंड इंक्रीज द सेल्स ऑफ एक्सेसरीज एंड कंज्यूमेबल्स. इसमें ध्यान कहाँ देना है? एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर्स. ठीक है. सो एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर की बात है तो हम एक्सपेंशन पे तो जाएंगे ही नहीं. So we are left with these two options. Now when we see stability strategy aimed at customer functions, yeah, customer groups, it is actually talking about the customer groups and not the functions. So very easy question. ठीक है. So option number 890 is the correct option. ठीक है. Next one. Talent management process includes, ठीक है, HR planning, selection of employees, development of employees, employee compensation, employee separation. See, very easy one. ये तो सारे functions हैं ही हैं. Why employee separation is not a function? What is employee separation? Employee separation is basically a function when you are making it easy for the employee to exit when he or she is exiting the organization. You make it the exit in a structured and an ordinarily manner. All right. So here A, B, C, D, which all options are this? So the last option is correct here. All right. Next one, which of the following factor does not influence the flow of FDI under demand factors? Okay, so there are various kind of factors for FDI. Okay, there are supply factors, there are demand factors, there are government factors. ठीक है. तो तीन तरीके के तो फैक्टर्स होते ही होते हैं जो एफडीआई को इफेक्ट करते हैं. सो सप्लाई फैक्टर्स में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जैसे कि प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट है, ठीक है, लॉजिस्टिक्स है, रिसोर्स अवेलेबिलिटी है, एक्सेस टू टेक्नोलॉजी है. ठीक है. अच्छा, डिमांड में व्हाट इज द कस्टमर एक्सेस, कस्टमर्स तक हमारी कितनी एक्सेस है. ठीक है. फॉलो राइवल्स, राइवल्स को कैसे फॉलो कर रहे हैं, या फॉलो द क्लाइंट्स, हाउ द क्लाइंट्स आर बीइंग फॉलोड बाय देम. ठीक है. एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज वी हैव टू सी. ठीक है, वाइल जनरेटिंग द डिमांड. और गवर्नमेंट की बात करते हैं तो वी हैव दिस इकोनॉमिक प्रायोरिटीज, वी हैव इंसेंटिव्स, वी हैव व्हाट वी से, और क्या हो सकता है, ट्रेड बैरियर्स, ऐसा. तो अवॉइडेंस ऑफ ट्रेड बैरियर्स, अवॉइडिंग ट्रेड बैरियर्स. So these are all the things. अच्छा, फटाफट से we'll see the options. Customer access, yes it is a demand factor, पहला ही है. Also follow rivals, yes it is a demand factor. Resource availability, no, this is found under the supply factors. So clearly we can mark option number 939 as correct, which is resource availability. All right. Next up, central focus of which of the following models is 5-stage consumer decision process? This is actually was given by Engel Collett Blackwell model. This is this model. It has 5 stages. ठीक है. Information input, information processing, decision process stage, decision process variables, external influences. ठीक है. So these are the 5 stages which are being given by Engel Collett Blackwell model. All right. So this is the correct option. Next one. Arrange the following steps in the segmentation process in the sequential order. Very easy question. ठीक है. So इसमें first of all what we'll do, we'll group the customers into segments and based on their needs they are sort of. ठीक है. So we'll group them. It is number 1. अच्छा, next is we will determine with which demographic lifestyle वगैरह जो है वो सेगमेंट को बनाती है. सो दिस इज नंबर 2. नेक्स्ट इज व्हाट विल डू इज डिटरमाइन द ओवरऑल अट्रैक्टिवनेस. हम डिटरमाइन करेंगे ताकि हम कुछ प्री डिटरमाइन क्राइटेरियाज की हेल्प से कुछ ओवरऑल अट्रैक्टिवनेस को हम डिसाइड करवा पाए, ठीक है. दिस इज सॉरी नंबर 3. ऑल राइट, फिर उसके बाद व्हाट विल डू, विल ट्राई टू क्रिएट अ वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन. All right, and product pricing strategy accordingly. And then finally what we'll do is we will finally create a segment storyboard जिसमें हम list करेंगे the attractiveness of each segment's positioning strategy. This is number last 5 only. ठीक है. So accordingly, which one is the correct option? The correct option here is option number this 1122 CADBE. Okay. Chalo, next one. What is the correct sequence of steps involved in the master production schedule preparation? What is this master production schedule? This is basically a centralized document which tells you what you need to produce, how do you need to produce, when do you need to produce. ठीक है. So all these things are there. अच्छा, इसके अंदर there are various steps. So first of all what we have to do is सबसे पहले we will obtain the specifications. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट हम ग्रॉस रिक्वायरमेंट डिटरमाइन करेंगे. ठीक है. ग्रॉस रिक्वायरमेंट डिटरमाइन करने के बाद हम देखेंगे हमारे पास इन्वेंट्री एट हैंड में क्या क्या चीजें हैं एंड ऑन ऑर्डर. फिर हम देखेंगे क्या नेट रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. ठीक है. फाइनली वी विल सी द नेट रिक्वायरमेंट्स एंड what the last step would be revising this schedule to accommodate the जो भी inadequate material होगा net requirement देखने के बाद हम ये करेंगे. So here the correct option is 1132. Okay. Next is which of the following statements characterize the growth phase of the product life cycle? ग्रोथ फेज, बिल्डिंग इंटेंसिव डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ग्रोथ फेज में होता है. ठीक है. मैक्सिमाइज द प्रॉफिट वाइल डिफेंडिंग मार्केट शेयर नहीं. अच्छा, building awareness and interest in the market, yes, this also happens in the growth stage. And then diversify the brand and item models, this is in the later stages or of the product life cycle. Then the price to penetrate the market, this also happens in the growth stage. So A, C and E are the correct options here. ठीक है. अच्छा, अभी आता है हमारा पैसेज क्वेश्चन. ठीक है. सो दिस पैसेज एक्चुअली टॉक्स अबाउट किस तरीके से इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स में we go, how go we, you know, if we have to introduce a product there, how is the positioning strategies being followed. So इन्होंने बताया कि एशियन मार्केट है इंडिया जहाँ पे they wanted to introduce some cereal chains. तो initially तो acceptable था, but later on what they found is कि only upper middle class representing families were, you know, having these cereals initially, but later on they also moved on to the traditional Indian breakfast. तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. Most of the questions here are fact based questions, not directly asked ऐसे normal passage का नहीं कि directly asked from the passage की line उठा ली और पूछ लिया. ठीक है. तो फटाफट से we'll do these. Dash is a combination of standardization and differentiation where the core strategy remains the same, but Dash is made to take into account specific customer group requirements. So here is this positioning effort, evaluation, segmentation, penetration improvement. Very easy. It is focus and differentiation. So what is focus? Focus basically meets the unique needs of the customers, and obviously it is a combination of standardization and differentiation also depending upon the customer का जो unique needs होती हैं. नेक्स्ट में हम फिलअप में डिफरेंशिएशन डालेंगे. बाय बिकॉज डिफरेंशिएशन इज एक्चुअली मेकिंग द प्रोडक्ट मोर अट्रैक्टिव देन दैट ऑफ द कॉम्पिटिटर्स. तो स्पेसिफिक कस्टमर ग्रुप की रिक्वायरमेंट को मीट करने के लिए हम क्या करते हैं, डिफरेंशिएट करते हैं. सो 1184 इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. नेक्स्ट अप, while expanding business to new markets, analysis of the following is required as the first step. क्या हमें देखना होगा, हमें सबसे पहले करंट मार्केट पोजीशन देखना होगा. ठीक है. उसके बाद ही हम देखेंगे कि क्या हमारा टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में नीडेड है, क्या टाइप्स की जरूरत है, क्या प्रोडक्ट में इंप्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है. ठीक है. सो analysis of the current market position is the correct option here. Next up, a strategy aimed at reducing uncertainty faced by consumers when choosing products with unknown product quality is termed as, what do we call this? The strategy aimed at reducing the uncertainty. तो this is standardization. हम अगर प्रोडक्ट को स्टैंडर्डाइज कर देंगे तो this the consumers would not be facing this uncertainty जब उनको प्रोडक्ट चूज करना होगा, because they know कि सभी प्रोडक्ट्स एक ही टाइप के हैं. ठीक है. So this is standardization. Next question, Dash is a set of consumers who evince interest in the marketer's offer. जो कि इंटरेस्ट शो करते हैं, कौन से होते हैं, हम कहेंगे उनको पोटेंशियल मार्केट, दैट वी सी अ पोटेंशियल, दैट दे हैव सम इंटरेस्ट. ठीक है. सो दीज आर दी potential market customers here. Next one, in times of market uncertainties and low brand loyalties, the international firm should respond to spurt in demand for its products through what? So देखो एकदम से अनसर्टेनिटीज हैं, ब्रांड लॉयलिटीज कम है, इंटरनेशनल फर्म है, तो व्हाट विल डू, वील आउटसोर्स. ठीक है, अगर हमें नहीं पता उस चीज के बारे में, सो वी विल फाइंड समबडी और सम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हु नोज better than us. So what we'll do is outsourcing the what we say, our functions, that the functions which are needed in that case or the scenario. ठीक है, so outsourcing is the correct option here. All right.
Question is, given below are two statements. Interest coverage ratio indicates how many times fixed interest charges are earned based on the earnings available to pay these expenses. Statement 2 says 1 minus the reciprocal of interest coverage ratio indicates how far earnings could decline before it would be impossible to pay the interest charges from current earnings. So basically these are self-explanatory. The statement 1 is correct about the interest coverage ratio because it tells the relationship between the profitability and the fixed interest charges of the entity, right? And statement 2 is also self-explanatory in nature. Both these statements are correct, so the answer is both statement 1 and 2 are true. Okay, next. Now arrange the following steps of organizational socialization in the proper sequence. So we need to arrange the steps of the organizational socialization in a sequential manner, right? So here we are having some information that is related to organizational socialization process. So basically whenever we are going to socialize with the new employees, certain techniques have to be used. Okay, and there are certain specific steps which can be followed by the entities. So first step among them is provide a challenging first job. Okay, so you need to provide them a challenging job, and then of course the relevant training must be provided. Then we should provide them timely and consistent feedback. Okay, and post that we should select a good first supervisor who can take a charge of the socialization process, and after that we will design the orientation program, and in the last you may place the new recruits in the work groups with the high morale. So these are the steps. So accordingly B should be the first here, and then relevant training E, and it is given in the D part. So third is my D, and then selection of the good first supervisor to be the in charge of the socialization process. This is my fourth, and fifth one is designing a relaxed orientation program. Okay, so it's B, E, D, A, and then C, right? So this option is correct. Now again, a very simple question from the big five model of the personality: agreeableness, emotional stability, extroversion, openness to experience. So I must show you the aspects of the or dimensions of the big five model. So here we are having five personality dimensions according to this model: extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness to experience. So if we go by the characteristics of each of them, extroversion are the people who are outgoing, talkative, sociable, assertive. Agreeableness, basically they agree with the others easily, so trusting, good natured, cooperative, soft hearted. Conscientiousness are basically dependable, responsible, achievement oriented, persistent. Emotional stability, they're relaxed, secured, and unworried. Why they are secured? Because I mean they do not have any kind of insecurity. Openness to experience, so basically intellectual, imaginative, curious, broad minded. So it's very easy based on this to identify which goes with which option. So agreeableness basically is going with trusting, right? And my emotional stability is going with, that is, secure. Extroversion, assertive. Okay, Openness to experience, imaginative. So it goes by 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, and 2. So this option is correct. Option ID 1066. Next, which one of the following is a disadvantage of the MBO as a performance appraisal tool? Now we have to identify the disadvantage of management by objectives as a performance appraisal tool, right? So the most identified disadvantage of MBO is that being the performance appraisal tool, it is quite time consuming, right? So because every time we need to discuss the objectives with the employees, so that is the basic objective of the MBO, right? So it is going to be a time consuming process in that sense, right? So this is the disadvantage of the MBO as a performance appraisal tool. Next, which of the following are the examples of need for status? So I must show you something with respect to types of secondary needs. So this question is from the key secondary needs. So secondary needs can be divided among as follows: need for achievement, need for power, need for affiliation, need for security, need for status. So again, the name is suggesting itself. So being in a position of authority over others, so this is not need for status, it is actually need for power. Okay, so being in a position of authority over others, influencing people to change their attitudes or behavior, again need for power. So always read twice or thrice before checking out any answer. Having executive privileges, participating in pleasant, so this is need for power, NFP I am writing. Okay, so having executive privileges, so we have to look for need for status. So whenever we want to have any kind of executive privileges, that is satisfying our need for status. Okay, participating in pleasant social activities, that is need for affiliation, not need for status. So this is my NFS. We are looking for NFS, right? Working for the right company in the right job, again this is a need for status. Living in the right neighborhood and joining any kind of club over there, so that satisfied our need for status, again this is our NFS, right? So accordingly, B, D, and E, this is, these all are need for status. Okay, B, D, and E, this. Okay, option ID 978. Next, which of the following is organizational process related job stress? So now we can divide the causes of job stress mainly into 4 categories. That is the stress arising out of administrative policies and strategies, stress arising out of any structure of the organization or design of the organization, or stress which may arise out of organizational process or due to the working conditions. Okay, so we may have different reasons under the these headings. So we need to identify which factor they are asking. Organizational process related job stress. Okay, so here we are concerned with respect to this organizational process. Okay, so here it is saying that little performance feedback that is associated with organizational process related job stress. So role ambiguity, if you look for, again that's a structure related problem, so that goes here. And no opportunity for advancement, then again if you're not giving any opportunity of advancement, it's again there's a defect in the organizational structure and design. Okay, rotating work shifts, so rotating work shifts, it means there's a deficiency in the policy of the organization. So that, in that sense, the stress comes out. Okay, so little performance feedback is the correct answer to this question because it is related to organizational process. Okay, next, which one of the following principles of management states that for a group of activity having the same objective there should be one head and one plan? So this is very simple, very straightforward question from the Fayol's 14 principles of management, and this is commonly known as unity of direction. Unity of direction. Okay, this is the right answer. Okay, next. Efficacy of the written communication depends upon. So even if you have not referred any book with respect to written communication, you could have come to the right answer by reading through the options. Okay, so what are the options to this question? Lengthy presentation. So lengthy presentation does not make any kind of communication very effective. So this cannot be the answer, right? So we have to look for the efficacy of the written communication. Editing after writing. So whenever we write, we also need to review it and we need to edit it. Okay, so that can make our written communication more effective, or there can be more efficacy. Brevity in sentences. So we must be inclined towards brevity, right? So कम शब्दों में ज्यादा बात कहना. So should we use strong words? No. Okay, so they may be offensive to anyone, so we should avoid using strong words. Effective use of words, yes, right? So accordingly, the answer should be B, C, E. B, C, and E. It means this option, right? Next question. The traditional accounting practice of resolving uncertainty by choosing the solution that leads to the lower amount of income being recognized in the current accounting period is based on which of the following accounting principles? So straightforward accounting principle question has been asked. And whenever we go for choosing the lower amount of income that to be recognized in the accounting period, it means we are following conservative principle of conservatism principle of accounting. Okay, right? So valuation of inventory based on lower of cost or market value. So again, this is the example of the conservatism principle of accounting. Okay, so correct answer is conservatism. Okay, which one of the following is not an intramural function of trade unions? Basically, intramural and extramural function are there with respect to a trade union. So intramural, if we go by normal parlance, it means basically which are provided inside the organization. Extramural are which are provided outside the organization, right? So intramural, it can have one more connotation, like intramural functions are those functions of the trade unions, which can be achieved by some collective bargaining or direct action such as strike. Okay, so by that sense, hike in wages, job security, providing more benefits, that can be achieved by direct action or by collective bargaining. So only this extension of medical facilities during sickness and casualties, that is not my intramural function of trade union. So right answer is this. Correct option is extension of medical facilities. Okay, fine. Because this is going to be my extramural function of the trade union. Okay. Again, there are two statements. First is employers use human resource management activities to help employees realize their full career potential. And second statement says employers do this just because they gain by making better utilization of employees' potential. Of course, employers gain by the use of human resource management, but it is not only it is not the single objective of the employers. There are many other objectives which can be achieved by employers. Okay, because it helps them to satisfy their workers and to help them retain their workers. So if they are not able to retain their workers, they would not be able to successfully run the organization. So this is not the sole objective, because it is written employers do this just because they gain by making better utilization of employees potential. So this is not the only objective of the employers with the application of the human resource management activities. So statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Okay, fine. So this is the correct option. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. The first and foremost important feature for a project to be successful is if I would not have referred to any book with respect to uh, this question, then what would have been the guess with respect to this? It should have a legal support, it should have adequate financing, it should have a market, it should benefit society. So basically, they are asking first and foremost important feature. Okay. So whenever we are about to start any project, it should have a market first. Okay. Rather than looking for the benefits for the society or adequate financing or legal support. So correct option is this. It should have a market. Which one of the following factors is not a factor in case of wide span of management? So if you look at the corresponding figure, this figure I am showing you the factors influencing the span of management. Narrow span in the first column, and in the second column I am showing you the wide span, factors affecting wide span. Okay, so basically these all are the factors: well defined plans for repetitive operations, effective interaction between superior and subordinate, thorough training of the subordinates. So these are the factors which are going to affect the wide span of management. This is the factor which is not going to affect the wide span, but it would affect narrow span of management. Why? Because basically if you look at this thing, under narrow span we have this kind of thing. Right, isn't it? So this is my narrow span. So there is unclear authority and delegation, and of course there are unclear plans. So whatever the fast changes in the external and internal environment, they are going to affect the narrow spans and not the wide spans in to that extent. Okay, clear? Next, which one of the following is a taxable perquisite? Basically this question is not rightly framed. If you look at the options, insurance premium. So if basically what all these perquisites are, these all are more or less taxable subject to certain conditions. So insurance premium, if it is a life insurance premium, it is taxable. Any accidental insurance premium, that is not taxable. So the kind or nature of the amount we have to also identify in order to arrive at the conclusion whether the perquisite is a taxable or not. Salary of the servant employed by an employee. So again, it is depending upon certain conditions whether this is being paid to the specified employee or not. And any amount which is recovered from the employee, that has to be deducted out of the amount, and whatever is paid, whatever is the extra amount, that is going to be taxable. So answer given by UGC is salary of the servant employed by an employee. Although as per us, this question is not rightly drafted. So loans to employees, again there are certain conditions which makes concessional loan provided by the employer to the employees make it taxable or not. Again, same is the condition with the accommodation provided by the employer. It depends upon the nature of the accommodation, right? So this question, the answer is not correct. Even the options are not correct. Okay. While preparing a budget, which of the following activities enable managers to do a better job of managing? advance warning of and assignment of responsibility for conditions that require corrective action, develop new policy to improve control of inventory management, adjusting the budget to reflect different levels of sales or production, coordination of activities among all departments within the organization, creation of standards for evaluating performance. Even if we do not know the answer of this question, basically this is very generic kind of question. What they are asking relate to this, we have to check out those activities managers which are required by the managers to do a better job of managing while preparing a budget. Okay, so if you look at option B and C, they are talking about certain particular department, inventory management, sales or production. So if you look at option A, D, and D, advance warning and assignment of responsibility, yes, that's the manager's job of managing. Coordination of activities, that's the manager's job. Creation of standards, that's the manager's job. So A, D, and D eventually gets right if you look from that perspective. Okay, so this is the correct option. If a company's current ratio declined in a year during which its quick ratio improved, which of the following is the most likely explanation? Inventory is increasing, inventory is declining, receivables are being collected more rapidly than in the past, receivables are being collected more slowly than in the past. So if you look at the options, these are strictly no. Why? Because once the receivables are getting converted into cash, more or less the impact would be zero in the current assets. So my current ratio is current assets over current liabilities. My quick ratio is my quick assets or upon upon current liabilities. So what are my quick assets? That is current assets minus inventory upon current liabilities, isn't it? So if my inventory is going to increase, naturally my current ratio will be improving, not declining. So this option is also have to be sidelined. Inventory is declining. So when my inventory is declining, certainly my current ratio would decline. And when my inventory is declining, automatically my quick assets would, quick ratio would improve. Okay, because my inventory here, it is getting subtracted from the current assets. So when I am reducing the amount of inventory, it will improve my quick ratio. So this option is correct. Okay. What are the problems commonly associated with the scientific management? So look at the options. If you check out in the options, there is no such option E. So this cannot be the answer. E option is nowhere given. I'm telling you how to deduce the answer even if you do not know anything about that question. Workers, so we are here identifying problems associated with the scientific management, right? So workers feel comfortable. So this cannot be the problem. So the answer must be lying in A, B, and C only, right? And if you know anything about scientific management, managers do not share any benefit with the workers. So this again is overruled. Only two options are left, A and C. Managers often implement only the increased output part of the plan. That is correct. And jobs become oversimplified and repetitive, often replaced by new technology. So this is correctly the problem associated with the scientific management. So this option is correct. Which one of the following is the most significant factor according to the Dunlop model of IR? So this is the most basic IR model, and according to it, there are three actors. So even if you do not know the answers, so these are all the actors of this model: management, labor, and government. So these factors, these actors' relationship get affected by the external forces. So this is the most significant factor according to Dunlop model of IR, right? Okay. Next. Which one of the following is not a characteristics of a manager? So if you are talking about characteristics of manager versus leader, then you would be able to easily answer this question. Otherwise, it may become difficult. Yes, the manager imitates. So this is the characteristics of the manager. He asks how and when. Yes. Accepts the status quo. Yes. He does the right thing. So this is not the characteristics of the manager. Basically, this is the characteristic of the leader. The basic characteristic of the manager is that he does things right. Okay, fine. And if I am talking about leader, as comparison to imitation, what does the leader do? He originates instead of imitating others. He does not Leader does not ask how and when, he basically asks what and why, right? And being a manager, he accepts the status quo position, okay, existing position he accepts, whereas the leader challenges the status quo. So this is the correct option to this question, does the right thing, because the manager does things right instead of doing the right things. Okay, which of the following is a pre-offer takeover defense employed by target companies in hostile takeovers? That is poison pill, because they are saying pre-offer takeover defense employed by the target companies. So poison pill is nothing wherein whenever the target company is apprehensive of any hostile takeover, it proposes its shareholders for the distribution of the rights to purchase shares of the target company, right? And that too at substantially reduced price, so as to dilute the acquirer's holding. Okay, so poison pill is the correct answer to this question. Okay, arrange the given stages of process of organizational change in the correct sequence. Now we need to arrange the process of organizational change in correct sequence. So here it is arranged. Basically, whatever is the proposal for change, we need to initiate that proposal. Okay, so motivation says that we need to include everyone in our proposal, whether it be top level management, lower level, senior level. Okay, diagnosis is basically what is the reason for bringing the change. We need to identify that problem. Okay, information collection is we have to dwell upon the various alternatives available to us, and deliberation is we need to evaluate upon those alternatives. Okay, action proposal is once we have evaluated, we definitely have to draft a document which contains our proposal. Okay, and implementation, wherein we are going to implement this change, and stabilization is basically internalization of the change so as to make it a permanent within the organization, right? So accordingly, here they are starting with which option? That is my initiation they have not given. So motivation, they are starting with this thing, motivation, right? And then is my diagnosis, and then my information collection, and then my action proposal, and then it's going to be stabilization, right? So CBADE. CBAD and E is the correct option to this question, right?
All right. So the next question talks about data warehousing. What is data warehousing? Data warehousing is a central repository of information that can be analyzed to make informed decisions regarding anything and everything which comes for an organization. So the data flows into the data warehouse from transactional analysis, transactional systems, relational databases, and other sources. So there are four key features of data warehousing. The first one is subject oriented. So every data warehouse is subject oriented, which means that regarding every different subject which comes for an organization, whether it's accounting, whether it's finances, whether it's sales details, marketing details, anything and everything that comes for a particular company, whether it's internal in nature or external in nature, it is all stored as per to that particular subject. Second one is integrated, which means that the entire data warehouse is integrated with all the departments. Then you have something called as time variant. It does not matter whether the company is 10 years old, 10 months old, or 10 days old. Every single information is stored, and in any period of time, the user can go back as much as he want, as much old previous data as he needs, they can get it. And the last one, it is non volatile, which means that any information which is stored once in a data warehouse stays there. All right. So if you look at the characteristics which were given in the question, focuses on modeling and analysis of data related to specific field, absolutely correct. It integrates data warehouse data from different systems like CRM, SCM, etc. Absolutely correct. And then if you look at the option C, which they have given, the characteristic in C which they are given is like historical prospect. No, it has a continuous knowledge. So this is wrong. And then they talk about store permanently. Once stored cannot be updated. This is absolutely correct. It is permanently stored. And E is wrong. Okay. So the correct answer is A, B, and D. All right. Moving on to the next question. Next question talks about accounting ecosystem as well as the technologies which are coming nowadays. The first one which they have given is blockchain technology. If you guys know this, blockchain technology plays a very important role. It is the backbone of cryptocurrency. So yes, this is absolutely the right option. Then ERP, enterprise resource planning, has nothing to do with just the accounting system. It is a resource planning unit which is provided to every single company, or a company implements in itself, so that every single department, all the knowledge from those departments can be digitalized. So no. Then they are talking about cloud computing. Cloud computing is absolutely correct, because cloud computing now provides an accounting softwares which can be used on remote servers, just like a SaaS system. So cloud computing is a part of this answer. And then robotics, no. Machine learning, yes. Machine learning can be utilized so that the patterns, the demand analysis can be done in a better manner. So A, C, and E, the option A, C, and E were given here. All right. These are very simple questions which came. Okay, the next question talks about the quality standards. Quality standard, the first thing which they have given, the first statement which they have given talks about Kaizen approach. Kaizen approach is an approach which talks about continuous improvement. They talk about even if you make small changes to your product, it will keep on improving. So Kaizen, this statement is absolutely correct. BIS is Bureau of Indian Standard, which represents India in International Organization of Standard. This is absolutely correct. Then the third statement, which is correct in this, is Six Sigma allows for 3.4 defects per 1 million. If you guys remember, Six Sigma model was established by Motorola, and they talked about perfecting, almost perfecting. So they talk about 99.99966% defect, which allows, and Six Sigma model allows for 3.4 defects per million cases. So this is absolutely correct. So A, B, and D were here. So this is absolutely correct. Okay. Now moving on. Now what this question actually talks about the sickness in small industries in India. Now, sickness in small industries is because of two different reasons. One is internal, and one are your external causes. What all comes in internal causes? What all comes in internal causes? Internal causes talk about lack of finance, which is poor utilization of assets in its most basic form, poor utilization of assets. Then you have something called as bad production policies, another big issue, right? The third one is marketing issues. Now, when you're talking about marketing issues, here it means about wrong demand analysis or not understanding what the market actually needs, right? When you talk about external causes, the first one are your personal restraints. How much the workers actually know about what they are doing, how much knowledge do they have. So that is one. The second one is, again, marketing restraints. Here they talk about how the market is changing continuously and how much the company is keeping in touch with the market so that they understand the growing need. Then you have something called as production restraints, and then again you have your finance restraints, whether the loan which they have taken from the government has been reimbursed or not, right? So these are the major issues for sickness in small industries. So the statements given in this particular question, if you look at inability to cope up with large market sizes, absolutely correct. Lack of innovation in technology focus, absolutely correct. Then you have direct and indirect competition from foreign players, absolutely correct. So B, C, and D makes for this answer. Now, where do we have B, C, D? We have here. So this was the correct option. So the next question talks about performance and credit rating scheme. They were asking about the scheme which was launched regarding performance and credit rating, which was launched by Union MSME to assess credit worthiness and capabilities of industries in the sector. The correct answer for this particular question was performance and credit rating scheme. This was launched in 2005. Now, what this scheme actually does, this scheme seeks on establishing independent, trusted third party, which actually forms opinions on the capabilities as well as the credit worthiness of an MSE. All right. Moving on to the next question. This is a very straightforward question. First of all, what is a process chart? What is a process chart? It is a simple workflow charting, and different charts are there, but the symbols can be kept constant. So these symbols were given by ASME, or American Society for Mechanical Engineering. Now, what are these symbols? There are 5 major symbols. You have a circle which talks about operation. This symbol talks about inspection. The arrow talks about transport. This symbol talks about storage, and this talks about delay. So if you match these questions, D for delay, the arrow talks about your transport, this talks about your storage, and this is your input or inspection. Now, the correct answer was given here. Okay. Moving on, now there was this big passage, but this was a very easy question. The question was very, very easy. So the first question, which was talking about the focus on digital transformation in Indian Union budget. Where was this question? If you look at the first paragraph itself, you will find the answer to this question, right? Now, if you look at the statements, high speed broadband connectivity, accountability of online platform, infrastructure status, increasing intellectual property security, task force, the correct answer was CNE. Okay, so the next question talked about already initiated India's digital transformation process, and it talked about the initiative. So this was given in your second passage when it talked about your CSCs and UPIs and all of those things. So the correct answer was Aadhaar, UPI, and CSCs. The next question talked about. Okay, so the next question talked about most crucial for universalization of digital inclusion. If you look at the last passage, it talked about the digital laws. And this question was derived from there. The correct answer for this was new laws to promote accountability, cybersecurity, and privacy. The next question was an assertion reasoning question. It was a very simple assertion reasoning question. The first assertion said, India needs to modernize its digital laws to support rapid growth of digital economy. True. Then it talked about new digital laws are needed for digital inclusion and bringing more people to the digital world to increase. This statement is partially true because it is not talking about the infrastructure that is required, right? So it is not the correct reason for your assertion. So both statements are correct, but reason is not the correct explanation. And the last one was most appropriate title for this passage. If you read this passage, it talks about how the world needs to move, how India needs to move in the future, right? It is talking about what all we can do to make our country more digitalized. So the correct answer was Digital India, the way ahead.
Okay, so there is a match. अब start कर रहा हूं मैं. So there is a match the column. फिर से मैं start करता हूं, ठीक है? Okay, so the question is providing us two lists. एक में concept है, एक में institution या scheme है जो उससे associated है. तो entrepreneurship and innovation क्या है ये? ये नीति आयोग के अटल इनोवेशन मिशन का पार्ट है, सो ए का 3 होगा. गैप्स इन वैल्यू चेन्स, ओके, सो ये क्या है? ये प्रधानमंत्री मत्स्य संपदा योजना है, इससे रिलेटेड है, जो कि फिश का प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाने के लिए टारगेटेड है, और इसके जो लॉजिस्टिक जो सप्लाई चेन है उससे रिलेटेड कुछ कुछ प्रोविजंस हैं. थिंक टैंक, नीति आयोग इज अ थिंक टैंक. ये नीति ऐसे नहीं, ऐसे होना चाहिए, ठीक है. मशीन लर्निंग, ये अटल टिंकरिंग लैब का पार्ट है, जो कि अगेन अटल इनोवेशन मिशन का पार्ट है, जो कि ओवरऑल नीति आयोग के अंडर चल रहा है. सो अगर ए का 3 है, बी का 2 है, सी का 4 है और डी का 1 है, तो करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑप्शन डी. सेकंड क्वेश्चन, अगेन मैच द कॉलम. दो लिस्ट है हमारे पास, एक में कंपनी है, एक में इसका नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस है. तो अलायंस एयर क्या है? अलायंस एयर है स्टेट ओन्ड रजिस्टर कैरियर. ये एयर इंडिया की सब्सिडरी थी, बट अप्रैल 2022 के बाद जब टाटा ने एयर इंडिया की ओनरशिप राइट परचेज कर लिए, उसके बाद अलायंस एयर अब स्टेट ओन्ड हो गया है, ठीक है. डिलीवरी क्या है? डिलीवरी न्यू एज लॉजिस्टिक एंड सप्लाई चेन स्टार्टअप है, डिलीवरी बिजनेस में है ये. इक्सिगो क्या है? इक्सिगो है ऑनलाइन ट्रेवल कंपनी, ठीक है. कुओनी क्या है? स्विस ट्रेवल ग्रुप. तो ए का अगर 3 हो गया है, इसका ऑप्शन ए का 3 है. बी का अगर 4 हो गया है, तो इसका ऑप्शन ये वाला सही है. सॉरी, ये वाला. ए का 3, बी का 4, सी का 2 और डी का 1. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन असर्शन रीजन है. असर्शन कहता है सस्टेन्ड करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस एनकरेजेस द गवर्नमेंट टू लिबरलाइज. ओके, सो क्या है? सस्टेन करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस एनकरेजेस द गवर्नमेंट टू लिबरलाइज इंपोर्ट्स एंड कैपिटल मूवमेंट्स. ठीक है, बात एकदम सही है. क्या होता है? बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट जो होता है, वो क्या होता है? सबसे पहले तो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट क्या होता है कि आपकी कंट्री का जो भी ट्रांजैक्शन बाहर के नेशंस के साथ हो रहा है, दैट इज बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट। अब ये ट्रांजैक्शन रेसिडेंट्स करें या फिर ये सरकार करे या फिर ये कोई भी कॉर्पोरेशन करे, ठीक है। अब उसमें दो तरीके से ट्रांजैक्शन हो सकता है, या तो ट्रांजैक्शन में कैपिटल एसेट्स एक्सचेंज हो रहे हैं, कैपिटल एसेट्स के थ्रू फाइनेंशियल इंस्ट्रूमेंट के थ्रू पेमेंट हो रही है, तो दैट इज कैपिटल अकाउंट, या फिर वो करंट अकाउंट होगा। तो अगर करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस है तो गवर्नमेंट जो है वो लिबरलाइज करती है इंपोर्ट को और कैपिटल मूवमेंट्स को। जाहिर सी बात है, करंट अकाउंट सरप्लस का मतलब क्या है कि जो हमारा जो एक्सपोर्ट से जो पैसा आया है डॉलर्स में वो ज्यादा है ना, यानी हम इंपोर्ट को लिबरलाइज कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। सेकंड रीजन क्या है? द करंट अकाउंट एंड बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट पोजीशन ऑफ अ कंट्री कैन सिग्निफिकेंटली इन्फ्लुएंस इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी। बिल्कुल सही बात है कि अगर ये सरप्लस में है तो बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट जो है इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज को इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकती है। तो करेक्ट आंसर इज ए एंड आर ट्रू एंड आर इज द करेक्ट एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ ए। आगे बढ़ते हैं। अगेन मैच द कॉलम। जी ट्रेड कॉन्सेप्ट्स एंड टर्मिनोलॉजी दिया है और उसका डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है। तो जीएटीएस क्या है? जनरल एग्रीमेंट ऑन ट्रेड सर्विसेज। ये बिल्कुल वन के साथ जाएगा, विच इज एक्सटेंड मल्टीलेटरल रूल्स एंड डिसिप्लिन टू सर्विसेज। सेकंड है ट्रिप्स। ट्रिप्स क्या है? ट्रिप्स क्या है? ट्रेड रिलेटेड एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स। इसमें क्या है? ये अगेन स्टेटमेंट 2 के साथ जाएगा, विच इज रिलेटेड टू बर्न कन्वेंशन। बर्न कन्वेंशन क्या था कि प्रोवाइडिंग आईपीआर टू 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 लिटरली एन आर्टिस्टिक वर्क टू द ऑथर्स, ठीक है। ट्रिम्स क्या है? ट्रेड रिलेटेड इन्वेस्टमेंट मेजर्स, ठीक है। ये अगेन 3 के साथ जाएगा बिकॉज फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात करिए इसमें। एमएफएन क्या है? डब्ल्यूटीओ का मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशन क्लॉज है, जिसमें क्या है? अगेन फोर्स के साथ जाएगा, प्रिवेंट कंट्री फॉर डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग अमंग फॉरेन सप्लायर्स ऑफ सर्विसेज। तो ए का 1, बी का 2, सी का 3, डी का 4 और इसका ऑप्शन सीधा सीधा ये हो गया। The steps involved in the development of a project are given below. Arrange them in a proper sequence. तो प्रोजेक्ट डेवलपमेंट से रिलेटेड कुछ कुछ स्टेप्स हैं, मैंने अरेंज करना है। ये काफी लॉजिकल तरीके से भी आप कर सकते हो। तो सबसे पहले क्या है? आइडेंटिफाई करोगे आप अपॉर्चुनिटी को, फिर क्या करोगे? एक बिजनेस आइडिया को सिलेक्ट करोगे, ठीक है। फिर क्या करोगे? फिजिबिलिटी के एनालिसिस करोगे। उसके बाद क्या करोगे? फाइनेंसिंग का अरेंजमेंट करोगे एंड देन फाइनली प्रोजेक्ट इंस्टॉलेशन एंड इनिशिएशन, यानी काम शुरू हो जाएगा। तो क्या है इसका आंसर? डी ए सी और ई और बी। तो ये अगेन ऑप्शन ए इज द करेक्ट आंसर। बढ़ते हैं आगे। एन अप्रोच ऑफ मैनेजिंग इंटरनेशनल ऑपरेशंस इन विच नेशनलिटी इज डाउनप्लेड एंड द फर्म एक्टिवली सर्चेस ऑन द वर्ल्ड वाइड और रीजनल बेसिस फॉर द बेस्ट पीपल टू फिल की पोजीशंस। तो क्या है? ये ईपीजी मॉडल था, जिसमें क्या था? एथनोसेंट्रिक अप्रोच था, पॉलीसेंट्रिक अप्रोच था या जियोसेंट्रिक अप्रोच था। एथनोसेंट्रिक अप्रोच क्या है? जब हम जो हम नेटिव नेशन है उसके हिसाब से सारे मेजर्स और सारे डिसीजंस लेते हैं। पॉलीसेंट्रिक क्या है? जब हम होस्ट कंट्री में जाके होस्ट कंट्री के एनवायरनमेंट के हिसाब से सारे डिसीजंस लेते हैं। और जियोसेंट्रिक क्या है? जब हम वर्ल्ड वाइड एरिया को देखते हैं और उसमें से हम जो भी बेस्ट अप्रोच है उसको यूज करते हैं। तो अगेन जैसा कि कहा वर्ल्ड वाइड और रीजनल बेसिस, तो इसमें करेक्ट आंसर हो गया आपका जियोसेंट्रिक अप्रोच, विच इज ऑप्शन ए। आगे बढ़ते हैं हम। बिजनेस इंटेलिजेंस इज टू इंप्रूव द टाइमलीनेस एंड क्वालिटी ऑफ द इनपुट फॉर डिसीजन मेकिंग, ठीक है। तो बिजनेस इंटेलिजेंस क्या है? कि कोई भी ऐसी इंफॉर्मेशन, कोई भी ऐसा डेटा जो आपको डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस में हेल्प करे, राइट। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर इंडिया अभी T20 वर्ल्ड कप के लिए ऑस्ट्रेलिया गया है, तो पर्थ की पिच कैसी है और उसके हिसाब से हमें स्पिनर्स खिलाने चाहिए बिकॉज इट इज फेवरेबल फॉर दैट। तो हमें तो उसके हिसाब से हम अपना डिसीजन करेंगे कि हमने आज अक्षर और रविचंद्र अश्विन के साथ एक और स्पिनर खिलाना है, चहल को खिलाना है। तो दिस इज बिजनेस इंटेलिजेंस। एक इन्फॉर्मेशन आया जिसके हिसाब से डिसीजन मेकिंग हुई, ठीक है। तो अगेन क्या है? इट हेल्प्स द मैनेजर टू अंडरस्टैंड विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग। तो क्या है? इंटरनल कैपेबिलिटीज ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बिल्कुल। ट्रेंड्स एंड फ्यूचर डायरेक्शन इन द मार्केट, बिल्कुल। एक्सटर्नल एनवायरनमेंट सच एज इकोनॉमिक, पॉलिटिकल, सोशल एंड डेमोग्राफिक एनवायरनमेंट, बिल्कुल। बिहेवियर ऑफ द कॉम्पिटिटर, हाँ बिल्कुल। ई क्या है? एक्सटर्नल कैपेबिलिटीज ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, नॉट सो। तो इसका आंसर हो जाएगा ए बी सी डी, विच इज अगेन ऑप्शन ए। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। इनोवेटिव स्मॉल फर्म्स आर मोर लाइकली टू बी इन एग्जिस्टेंस इन विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सेक्टर। तो क्या है? इनोवेटिव है स्मॉल फर्म्स, ऐसी स्मॉल फर्म जो इनोवेशन कर सकती है। तो नॉलेज बेस्ड सर्विसेज, यस, इसमें इनोवेशन का स्कोप है। बायोटेक्नोलॉजी, अगेन इट इज वेरी साइंटिफिक, तो इसमें नहीं है। वेरी स्टैब्लिश्ड। इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी, अगेन आप आज बहुत सारी ऐप देख रहे हैं जहां पे इनोवेशन हो रहा है, तो अगेन ये भी है। ऑटोमोबाइल, सीमेंट, वेरी ट्रेडिशनल इंडस्ट्रीज, इसमें नहीं होगा। तो करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑप्शन ए एंड सी, विच इज दिस। Next question. Which of the following focus of OT interventions are relevant if the nature of intervention is structured? ठीक है, तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लेवल पे क्या क्या इंटरवेंशन हो सकते हैं हम उसकी बात करते हैं। तो रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बिल्कुल सही बात है। टीम डेवलपमेंट नहीं, ये ग्रुप की बात है तो ये नहीं होगा। काउंसलिंग अगेन ये इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे आप करते हो तो अगेन ये नहीं होगा। वर्क रिव्यू अगेन ये आप कर सकते हो। एमबीओ बिल्कुल मैनेजमेंट बाय ऑब्जेक्टिव, तो करेक्ट आंसर क्या हो गया? ADNE विच इज प्रोवाइडेड इन दिस ऑप्शन। Next, which of the following is not an advantage of implementing a quality system that conform to ICO standards? ठीक है, तो वो बताना है जो एडवांटेज नहीं है, ठीक है, आईसीओ सिस्टम स्टैंडर्ड्स के संग कंफर्म करके। तो इंप्रूवमेंट इन एम्प्लॉय इन्वॉल्वमेंट बिल्कुल सही बात है, ये एडवांटेज है। इंप्रूवमेंट इन हाउसकीपिंग बिल्कुल सही बात है। इंप्रूवमेंट इन कस्टमर सेटिस्फेक्शन बिल्कुल सही बात है। इनएफिशिएंट डिसीजन मेकिंग, आप देखिए अगेन ये तो जाहिर से मतलब अगर किसी ने इसको गलत किया है तो देयर इज सम सीरियस थिंकिंग जो उसको करनी चाहिए। तो अगेन ये इनकरेक्ट है और करेक्ट आंसर हमारा यही हो जाएगा। रिटेलर कोऑपरेटिव्स बिलोंग टू विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल सिस्टम? तो रिटेल कोऑपरेटिव्स क्या होते हैं कि एक कोऑपरेटिव बनाया रिटेलर्स ने ताकि वो एक बेटर पोजीशन में आके जो भी उनके डीलर्स हैं उनसे एक अच्छे तरीके से बल्क में सामान खरीद सके, ठीक है। तो बेसिक पर्पस इसका यही होता है और ये जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चैनल फॉलो करता है विच इज इट इज कॉन्ट्रेक्चुअल इन नेचर, ठीक है। Again, next question, indicate the correct option of the following statement on data collection and questionnaire design. तो data collection और questionnaire design से correct statement हमें बताना है। In order to ensure sufficiency of data, the field questionnaire must be 10% above the required number. ऐसी कोई नीड नहीं है तो ये गलत हो जाएगा। In structured interviews, interviewers attribute can significantly affect the respondent replies. बिल्कुल सही बात है, biasness की बात करता है, कभी बार होता है ये। Presentation of close-ended questions and the general layout constitute important consideration in preparing a self-administered question. बिल्कुल सही बात है, करेक्ट है ये बी। तो बी सी डी करेक्ट हो गए हैं, ये इनकरेक्ट है। Description of important terminologies, jargons help to improve the efficiency of respondent in filling the questionnaire. Again सही बात है, तो करेक्ट आंसर हो गया है इसका बी सी डी एंड ई। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, स्टेटमेंट 2 है, इफेक्टिव चैनल मैनेजमेंट कॉल्स फॉर सिलेक्टिंग इंटरमीडिएट्स एंड ट्रेनिंग एंड मोटिवेटिंग देम इन ऑर्डर टू बिल्ड लॉन्ग टर्म रिलेशन पार्टनरशिप। बहुत ही जेनरिक स्टेटमेंट है और बिल्कुल सही है। सेकंड है, चैनल इंटीग्रेशन मस्ट रिकॉग्नाइज द डिस्टिंक्टिव स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ ऑनलाइन एंड ऑफलाइन सेलिंग एंड मैक्सिमाइज देयर जॉइंट कंट्रीब्यूशन। अगेन ये जेनरिक स्टेटमेंट और ये बिल्कुल सही है, करेक्ट आंसर इज बोथ स्टेटमेंट 1 and 2 आर करेक्ट। नेक्स्ट इज assumption of rational decision making are, ठीक है, तो assumption बताना है रेशनल डिसीजन मेकिंग का। preferences are not clear, नहीं ये assumption नहीं है। preferences are not constant and stable, ये भी नहीं है। problem is clear and ambiguous, बिल्कुल सही बात है। no time or cost constraint exist, बिल्कुल सही बात है। final choice will maximize payoff, ये भी बिल्कुल सही बात है। तो करेक्ट आंसर हो गया इसका C, D and E। नेक्स्ट आगे बढ़ते हैं हम, which of the following statements are true in the context of CRM? तो CRM 2.0 की बात करता है ये। तो CRM 2.0 क्या हो गया? बेसिकली जो इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी का जो पेनिट्रेशन आजकल अक्रॉस द इंडस्ट्रीज हम देख रहे हैं, उसी के कारण जो चेंजेस आ रहे हैं उसी को हम 2.0 रेफर कर रहे हैं। तो कस्टमर इंटरेक्शंस आर नॉट प्री प्लान बट हैपन इन रियल टाइम, बिल्कुल आईटी सर्विसेज हमें ये देती हैं। सॉफ्टवेयर ऐसा सर्विसेज इज द डोमिनेंट CRM मॉडल पर्टिकुलरली इन स्मॉल एंड मिड साइज बिजनेसेस, बिल्कुल सही बात है। कस्टमर डेटा इज टिपिकली स्टोर्ड ऑन कॉर्पोरेट सर्वर्स ओनली, नो, क्लाउड पे भी स्टोर हो सकता है। means available for analytics are only standard multivariate statistical procedures such as cluster analysis and logistic regression, नहीं, गलत है ये। CRM 2.0 use massive amount of structured and unstructured data, बिल्कुल सही बात है। तो इसका करेक्ट आंसर हो गया, ये सही था, A, B and E, तो हमें मिलता है इस ऑप्शन में। हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। द मेन प्रोसेसिंग फंक्शन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम आर गिवन बिलो, अरेंज देम इन सीक्वेंसिंग ऑर्डर। तो प्रोसेसिंग फंक्शन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम को हमें अरेंज करना है, तो इसमें सबसे पहले क्या आ जाएगा? प्रोसेस ट्रांजैक्शन, उसके बाद क्या आ जाएगा? मेंटेन मास्टर फाइल, उसके बाद क्या आ जाएगा? प्रोसेस रिपोर्ट, उसके बाद क्या आ जाएगा? प्रोसेस इंक्वायरी, उसके बाद क्या आ जाएगा? प्रोसेस इंटरैक्टिव सप्लायर एप्लीकेशन। तो करेक्ट आंसर हो गया इसका A, B, D and C and E। हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। Which of the following statement are true in the context of quality standards? Okay, तो Kaizen approach deals with continuous improvement, सही बात है। BIS, which is Bureau of Indian Standards, represent India in ISO, बिल्कुल सही बात है। TQM cannot be applied to crude oil refining, नहीं, TQM अप्लाई हो सकता है। Six Sigma allows 3-4 defects per million cases, बिल्कुल सही बात है। Statistical quality control applications are limited to manufacturing industry, नहीं, गलत बात है। तो करेक्ट आंसर इसका हो गया A, B and D, so this is the right option। Next is, according to economics time study, which one of the following is India's best company to work for in 2021? तो इसमें क्या था? DHL Express India Private Limited, जो कि लॉजिस्टिक्स बिजनेस में है, ये जो थी ये इसको मिला था ये। हम आगे बढ़ते हैं। Which of the following is the characteristics of organizational climate? तो ये क्या है? ये हाइजीन फैक्टर से रिलेटेड, जो भी वर्क सेटिंग है उससे रिलेटेड होता है। और therefore correct answer is this is an overall feeling that is conveyed by the physical layout and the way participants interact. अगला क्वेश्चन, द अरेंज द फॉलोइंग इन द असेंडिंग ऑर्डर इन टर्म्स ऑफ देयर इक्विटी मार्केट कैपिटलाइजेशन. तो इसमें क्या है, सबसे पहले है इंडिया, उसके बाद है हांगकांग, उसके बाद है जापान, उसके बाद है चाइना, उसके बाद है यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स. तो असेंडिंग ऑर्डर में था, तो करेक्ट आंसर हो गया ए सी डी ई एन बी. हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. करेंटली द कंट्री विद द हाईएस्ट लेवल ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरल एक्टिविटी रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय द ग्लोबल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इंडेक्स. तो ये यूएस है जो हाईएस्ट है. तो करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑप्शन सी.